Y'all, this right here. This ain't just rap beef no more. It's personal. After months of silence, coded messages, and internet detectives working overtime, Drake has finally broken his silence. And what he revealed? Child Kendrick Lamar done crossed a line that might never be UNCROSAZD. Now, we all saw the warning signs. The subs on Instagram, the cryptic lyrics, that one IG story that vanished in under an hour, but nothing could prepare us for what's come to light. Sources close to the OVO camp say Drake's been sitting on a storm. And now that it's all out, let's just say this ain't your regular rap beef. This is legacy versus betrayal. Respect versus revenge. Word on the streets is that Kendrick didn't just take shots in the booth. He allegedly took aim at something much deeper. Something that has Drake's inner circle questioning everything, and even had his own family caught up in the fallout. We're talking backroom conversations, hidden studio footage, and a woman at the center of it all who may have unknowingly sparked the fire that's about to burn everything down. Stay tuned, because what Kendrick did, it changed everything. So let's rewind it a little bit. Back to the night of Kendrick's now infamous surprise drop. The track, Out of Nowhere, hit like a bullet through glass. No promo, no warning. It was just there. 3 minutes and 46 seconds of bars that had the entire rap game frozen. And while fans were glued to lyrics, dissecting every syllable, Drake was quiet. To quiet now, people thought maybe he was just being strategic. Maybe he was letting the dust settle before he fired back. But according to a close source inside the OVO camp, that's silence. It wasn't calculated. It was personal. Apparently, Drake was blindsided. Not by the diss itself. Nah, he expected that. He's been in this game too long not to. But what shook him was the third verse. In that verse, Kendrick didn't just go at Drake's music. He didn't just say Drake was soft or washed or an industry plant. That's old news. Nah, he did something else. He referenced a name. A very specific name. One that only people in Drake's inner circle would even know. The name. Zena. Now, most fans wouldn't catch that. They'd just assume it's another metaphor or a made-up name for the sake of a rhyme. But people close to Drake know the truth. Zena is real. Zena was Drake's private life. Someone he was close to during the early 2020 lockdown. She was never on the blogs, never in the clubs, never caught by paparazzi. But according to our insider, she was in the studio often. And here's the twist: Zena was a writer. Low-key, no credits on major projects, but rumored to have helped shape some of the softer, more introspective cuts on Drake's last 2 albums. It's said she understood his mind in a way few people did. So when Kendrick said her name in that verse, it wasn't just a jab. Was war. Now, Drake's reaction behind the scenes was instant. Sources say he walked out of a recording session mid-mix. No words, just got up, left. Flew back to Toronto that night. Canceled 2 meetings the next day. People in the OVO compound were scrambling. No one knew what he was going to do next. And for the first time in a long time, Drake was quiet. And then the theories started. Was Zena leaking info? Was she playing both sides? Had Kendrick met her? Was this some kind of long game play? Fans on Twitter were spinning wild conspiracies. But behind closed doors, it wasn't a game. It was betrayal. According to someone who used to work with Zena. She had been in LA a few times earlier this year. Solo, no OVO crew, no Drake. And during one of those visits, she allegedly attended a private listening party in Top Dog's circle. Kendrick was there. So were several producers. This was 2 months before the diss dropped. So now people were asking the real question. Was the track personal because Kendrick wanted to hurt Drake's image? Or because of Zena? And here's where it gets even messier. One of Drake's longtime producers, known for being loyal since the Take Care days, reportedly confronted Zena about it when she came to the studio weeks before the track dropped. The convo, according to someone who overheard it, got heated. Zena allegedly denied everything. Said she was just networking. Said she didn't even talk to Kendrick. But the vibe was off. Tension in the room. Things were never the same after that. And Drake. He started pulling away. Not just from her, but from everybody. The Ovo Mansion in Toronto became a ghost house. No stories, no studio snaps, no appearances. Just silence. Fans noticed. Instagram engagement dropped. There were no champagne poppy cryptic captions. People said he was plotting, but insiders said it was deeper. He felt betrayed. And for a man who built his empire on trust and loyalty, that cut different. Then came the leak, an anonymous Reddit post, which has since been deleted but was screenshotted by multiple fans. Claimed to have snippets of a private Drake track never released, not even registered under his usual aliases. And in that snippet, he allegedly responds, not just to Kendrick, but to Zena. The lyrics, raw and unpolished, were heartbreaking. He talked about a woman who gave him melodies but stole his peace. Someone who understood his fears, then sold them as secrets. And a line that fans haven't stopped talking about. You laid in my bed, then laid down the verse. Now I'm sleeping alone while you rehearse. Huge chills. Once that leaked, the internet went nuclear. Team Drake versus Team Kendrick wasn't just about bars anymore. It was about betrayal, manipulation, and heartbreak. And in the center of it all was Zena, who suddenly deleted her entire Instagram and locked her Twitter. So what really happened? Did Kendrick know who she was? Or did someone feed him intel to twist the knife deeper? More whispers started surfacing. A stylist connected to both parties claimed Zena and Kendrick didn't just meet, they had a brief creative connection. And something might have happened between them. It wasn't love, she said, but it was definitely more than just music. Drake, when he found out, was reportedly crushed. Not angry crushed. This wasn't some groupie or clout chaser. This was someone he let close. Someone he trusted with unreleased material, personal lyrics, and studio access. And now that person might have been in Kendrick's orbit, giving him exactly what he needed to craft the most personal diss of the decade. But here's where it gets real dark. OVO insiders say there was a private meeting just Drake and his two most trusted friends where he laid out a plan. Not to drop a diss track. It's not yet. But to expose the truth, not to the world, but to the industry. A private message sent directly to certain labels, warning them about wolves in sheep's clothing. And how industry connections are being used to wage psychological warfare. The message didn't name names, but everyone knew who it was about Kendrick. And in the weeks that followed, other artists started falling quiet too. People who had worked with both artists began distancing themselves. Studio sessions were being canceled. NDAs got tighter. Even Spotify playlists saw subtle shifts. It felt like an invisible war was playing out behind charts, behind award shows, behind the interviews, and yet Drake still said nothing. No tweets, no tracks, just silence, like a storm building. But the silence was starting to crack. And it started with one single unexpected move from someone no one saw coming. For those who don't know, Chubbs ain't just Drake's longtime friend. He's been his shadow. It's his shield. And some say the final voice before anything goes public. He rarely posts. And when he does, it's usually vague. But this time, it was direct. A black screen. White text. 5 words. Only snakes shed their skin. Within seconds, fans were spiraling. Who was he talking about? Was it Zena? Was it Kendrick? Or was it someone else close to the team? Someone who played both sides and gave Kendrick ammo? But the real shock wasn't the post. It was what came next, a voice note, 37 seconds. Posted to Chubb's close friend story, but y'all know the internet, somebody screen recorded it before it vanished. In that voice note, someone is heard saying, I told him not to trust her. I told him. She moved funny when she came back from Allah. Didn't even call. Then Kendrick drops that. Come on. The voice wasn't confirmed. But fans believe it's a mutual friend of both Drake and Zena. And if that's true, then this wasn't just betrayal. It was coordinated. Someone had warned Drake, and he ignored it. And then came the biggest twist yet. Zena reappeared. After weeks of silence, she showed up in a no-deleted Instagram live with a friend, just talking, vibing, nothing crazy. But someone in the comments brought up Kendrick. She froze, tried to laugh it off. But then she said one sentence that threw gasoline on an already burning fire. "I didn't choose sides. They chose the story. Double quotes. Boom. What does that mean? Fans started dissecting it immediately. Was she saying both artists are spinning narratives? Was she implying that she never gave up info, but both camps are using her as a pawn in their own games? Meanwhile, Kendrick's camp stayed completely silent. No tweets, no cryptic posts, no comments. Just silence. But something weird started happening around that same time. Kendrick's team was reaching out to multiple platforms, asking them to take down any interview clips that even mentioned Zena. Not full episodes, just certain questions, certain timestamps. And if you know how the industry works, that's damage control. Silent panic. Trying to erase fingerprints. And then another leak. This time from a private engineer who allegedly worked on early demos of Kendrick's track. In a now-deleted thread, he claimed the original version of the verse was even more personal. More names, more specific. And guess what? He said there were references that had to be cut because the legal team got nervous. Stuff that would have crossed into lawsuit territory. Now people were asking what was left out. What else did Kendrick know? And most importantly, how did he find out? And that's when the whispers about a mole started. Fans and industry insiders started speculating that someone inside OVO, someone still trusted by Drake, might have been feeding info. Not for money, not even for clout, but because they were quietly Team Kendrick. Or worse, Team Revenge. And here's where things started boiling over. Drake's cousin, who's kept a low profile for years, suddenly tweeted and deleted something wild. He said it'd be your own people, same table. Same food, but different loyalty. Fans screenshotted it, reposted it, tried to decode it. And when he was asked about it in a random live, he just laughed and said, "Yo, sometimes silence is louder than a verse." Meanwhile, in the shadows, a new song started circulating in the underground. Not officially dropped, just snippets. Whispers, allegedly a collab between one of Drake's old writing partners and a former Teed producer. The lyrics. Heavy, cryptic. Talking about betrayal in the booth. Talking about pillow talk that became poison. And one line had fans shook. He gave her melodies. I gave her memory. The streets were saying that might have been Kendrick responding again, but this time through someone else. Now we gotta talk about the fans. Because while the artist stayed quiet, the internet was exploding. Twitter Spaces, Instagram Lives, Clubhouse rooms, everybody had a theory. Some said Drake was planning a docuseries. Others said he was recording a Triple D's. And the craziest rumor? That Drake had security footage from the studio showing Zena on a FaceTime with someone she tried to hide. Allegedly. That footage has never been seen publicly. But multiple sources say it exists. And if that's true, it could end careers. And while all this chaos was unfolding, guess who quietly unfollowed Zena? Noah 40 SHEBIB. Drake's most loyal collaborator. His right hand? The man behind some of his most iconic sounds. He unfollowed Zena without saying a word. And when someone asked him in the comments why, he replied with a single word: energy. Boom! Internet went crazy. People were like, if 40's out, Zena's done. And yet, Kendrick still said nothing. Not even a bar. Just kept living, shooting videos, moving like nothing ever happened. But according to someone close to a West Coast engineer, Kendrick's been working on a secret second project. And guess what the theme is? Vengeance. The source claims Kendrick feels like Drake's camp is trying to rewrite the story. Turn him into the villain. Make it seem like he used a woman to win a rap beef. And if there's one thing Kendrick don't play about, it's his integrity. So the new material, it's not about dissing. It's about burning the whole playbook. Now, back to Drake. People started seeing movement again. Cars at the OVO mansion. Late-night studio lights. Champagne Poppy back on Insta stories, showing off Loki shots from inside the lab. And the biggest sign? A mysterious billboard in downtown Toronto that just said, "Silence is temporary. Pain is forever." People knew what time it was, and just when you thought things couldn't get more wild. Someone close to DJ Academics hinted that he'd been shown a private Drake recording. Not for public release, just something Drake needed to get off his chest. And the wildest part, it wasn't a rap track. It was spoken word. Just Drake. Talking. No beat, no hook. Just raw emotion. According to the source, in that piece, Drake talked about betrayal, brotherhood, and how a king can't bleed in front of his people. He said some names should have stayed sacred. Some stories should have stayed inside the studio. And he ended with one line that apparently left everybody in the room silent. "You don't lose when you're hurt. You lose when you harden." Bub. And with that, fans knew something big was coming. Not just a song, not just a post, but a full unraveling. And if you thought the game was divided before, just wait, because what happened next? That's when the world stopped. It started with a single ping, Apple Music. Early morning out of nowhere. A notification. New OVO radio episode. Surprise drop. Fans rushed in thinking maybe this was the moment. The official response. Finally, after months of silence and shadows, was Drake about to speak. But it wasn't what anybody expected. The episode opened with 10 seconds of pure static. Then a soft piano loop. Slow, moody. And then a voice. But not Drake's. It was a voicemail. A woman's voice. Emotional, shaky, low-key sounding like she'd been crying. She said, "You told me to protect you from the world, but you never protected me from your world. They all turned on me because of something I didn't even say." Fans were stunned. Was this Zena? Nobody confirmed it. No names, no tags. But if you knew the story, if you'd been following the drama, it didn't take much to put the pieces together, and then finally, Drake's voice. But this wasn't bars. It was a monologue. Over slow chords, he spoke like he was reading from a letter. No chorus, no beat drop. Just pain. He said things like, "I gave pieces of myself to people who only saw puzzles. And I wrote verses for ghosts who disappeared when the music stopped." Then the tone shifted. He started naming emotions. Confusion, regret, and then rage. His voice sharpened. And then came the line that had the internet in shambles. "You sat next to my enemy, knowing he wanted to end me, and called it inspiration." Boom. That was it. No names again. But that line? It didn't need a name. Fans knew. Everyone knew. Zena. By noon, the episode had over 1 million streams. Blogs were going wild. Every rap podcaster was breaking it down. And on Twitter, the trending hashtag was simple. Hashtag Drake knows, but Kendrick. Still silent. Still smiling in his latest paparazzi shots. Still UNBOTHERED. Until that same night. When a new story dropped at TMZ. They posted an article claiming someone close to Kendrick had been served a cease and desist from a law firm tied to Drake's team. The article didn't say what it was about exactly, but insiders claim it had to do with intellectual property leaks. In other words, lyrics, melodies, studio footage. The war wasn't lyrical anymore. It was legal. And then, as if summoned by the universe itself, J. Cole popped back up. Cole, who had been radio silent since he stepped away from the beef after dropping that public apology to Kendrick, suddenly appeared on an Instagram Live with a producer from Atlanta. Nothing crazy, just chatting about new sounds, upcoming projects. But then someone in the comments asked, "Who do you believe, Drake or Kendrick?" Cole laughed, paused, then said, "Man, I just hope the truth comes out. Because if what I heard is true, some people gone have to apologize." Heard is true? Some people gone have to apologize. Boom. What did he hear? Was he talking about the leaked lyrics? Or something deeper? Nobody knew for sure. But the fact that Cole, the middle child, the usually peaceful one, was hinting at secrets that meant something major was still hiding in the shadows. And then, like a lightning strike, the footage dropped an anonymous account. Burner page, low quality. But it was real surveillance footage from outside a studio in law, timestamped. And in it, clear as day, Zena walking out of the building, phone to her ear, pacing, looking nervous. The audio was grainy, but with some enhancement done by fan accounts. You could make out part of the convo. A male voice on the other end. Deep, calm. And the words, "Yeah, just send me the stems. I don't need the full mix. Just the ones you said he was still working on." Gasps everywhere. Stems. Music files. That meant someone was sending raw audio, likely from unreleased Drake sessions, to an unknown male voice. Was it Kendrick? Again, no confirmation. But people started matching the timeline. This footage was allegedly taken 2 weeks before Kendrick's diss dropped. Meaning, if the voice was his, he might have used unreleased OVO materials to shape his attack. And if that's true, this ain't just beef anymore. This is espionage. By now, the rap game was a minefield. Artists were scared to collab. Producers were backing out of sessions. Engineers were being forced to sign double NDAs. Even SoundCloud rappers were dropping loyalty freestyles. Picking sides. Then came the burner account tweet that changed everything. A tweet from a private account said, "He should have known she was still in love with the first one who listened." No likes, no retweets, but fans screenshotted it before it got deleted. And somehow, it made its way to Zena's real Instagram. She posted it to her story with a caption, "Believe what you want. Just know I didn't lie. I just never spoke." What? Theories exploded. Was she implying she had a history with Kendrick before Drake? Was she saying that her loyalty was never really with OVO? Or was she saying the whole thing was being twisted by both sides? And then, finally, a response. Not from Kendrick, but from Top Dog himself. On his close friend's story, he posted a blurry picture of a journal page. The writing was messy, but 2 lines were clear. He should have never fallen for a muse. She was born to inspire, not to stay. Pure poetry. Pure pain. And fans knew this wasn't just about rap anymore. This was about emotions, power, manipulation. And somewhere in the middle, a woman whose story was never fully hers to tell. Back in Toronto, the OVO team was preparing for something major. Sources say Drake was working on a visual. Not a music video, but something more raw, more confessional. Clips from inside his mansion, voicemails, blurred out text messages, even therapy session excerpts. A full psychological breakdown of the past 6 months. And the title, "Silence Hurts Louder." But while that project was being finalized, Kendrick had his own move lined up. Out of nowhere, a massive mural appeared in downtown Los Angeles, painted overnight. No announcement. No artist's signature. Just a painting of a broken microphone, and under it, for words in white paint, "Don't mistake art for war." The message was clear. Kendrick was saying, this isn't personal. This is creation. This is performance. But for Drake, it clearly was personal. And that tension, that gap between art and emotion, it was about to explode. Because within hours of that mural going viral, a leaked verse dropped. 3 minutes, raw, no beat. Just a voice memo recorded on a phone. And it was Drake. Finally rapping and not holding back. The verse was cold. No hook, no ad-libs, no flexing. Just Drake, raw, vulnerable, angry. You could hear the pain in his voice, like it had been living in his chest for too long and finally had nowhere else to go but out. He started slow, a calm fury. "You say it's just art till your canvas bleeds? Now you the brush that painted grief on me." The line had fans pausing the clip, rewinding, analyzing every word. Then he got deeper. "You had my hoodie on when he wrote that line, said you were cold. Now I know why." Woo, Dodd. If there was any doubt left about who he was talking about, it was gone now. The Zena chapter had officially become part of Drake's story. Not a rumor, Not a blog whisper. A documented heartbreak delivered in rhyme. But he wasn't just coming at Zena. No. He turned the heat up on Kendrick. 2. You ain't the king, you the messenger with dirty hands purr. Took notes from a broken home and turned M into fans purr. But I built mine with whispers and scars. You built yours on stolen bars. Boom! That line sent shockwaves across the internet. Some took it as a shot at Kendrick's writing, accusing him of using other people's pain as content. Others thought it was a double entendre, implying he took from Drake's life to craft his diss, and the verse kept going. He didn't name names, but he named emotions: betrayal, bitterness, regret. But the final lines? That's what had everyone talking. It's funny how the quiet ones scream the loudest purr. Now your silence got me cleaning wounds in public, and if this is the end, let it be clean, 'cause I'd rather lose you than lose me. Mike. Drop. The verse wasn't posted to any streaming platform. It wasn't monetized. It was just out there, like a leak, but intentional. The voice memo had been recorded in what sounded like a home studio. No filters, no polish. Fans said you could even hear birds outside the window. Raw authenticity. And in that moment, even people who weren't Team Drake had to admit the man was bleeding. And the world was watching Kendrick once again. Said nothing publicly, but the very next day, someone from his camp dropped a different kind of message. An email screenshot sent to multiple journalists. Subject line: context matters. In it was a private statement. Unsigned, short. When an artist writes from pain, it's therapy. When another artist uses that pain, it becomes theater. Choose wisely who you cry around. Boom. Fans were split. Some said Kendrick was calling out Drake for being too emotional for making heartbreak public. Others said it was deeper, that maybe Kendrick felt like he was being blamed for something that was always going to happen. After all, Zena had her own mind, her own moves. She wasn't property. She was a person. And then she spoke. On her terms. No interviews. No podcast. No messy IG lives. She dropped a YouTube video titled simply, "I was never yours." 22 minutes. Black and white. No makeup. No fancy edits. Just Zena. Talking. Just Zena. Talking. She began by saying she never asked to be famous, never wanted to be part of a beef, and never leaked anything. But then she paused and said this: if two men want to go to war over a woman, they should at least ask her what she wants. I didn't betray anyone. I just stopped lying to myself. Fans were shook. Was she saying she chose Kendrick? She didn't name names either. But she did confirm that, yes, she'd met Kendrick. And yes, they'd spoken deeply about life, about music, about trauma, and about Drake. But she said it wasn't romantic. She said Kendrick listened in a way Drake never did. That he didn't ask her to write melodies or help structure bars. He asked her what she feared, what she wanted, who she was before she became the muse. And then came the quote that broke the internet. Drake made me feel seen. Kendrick made me feel heard. But neither of them asked me if I wanted to be part of this narrative. And now I don't. She ended the video by saying she was stepping away from music, from law, from everything. She was going back to her hometown to live quietly, without studios, without camps, without crews. And just like that, she was gone. No follow-ups, no merch, no announcements. She ghosted the industry. And for the first time in months, the noise quieted. Drake went quiet again. Kendrick posted a single photo, a sunset over the ocean. The fans, exhausted, heartbroken. Divided. Memes turned into think pieces. Threads turned into essays. Some people said Drake was the victim. Others said he weaponized vulnerability. Some said Kendrick was cold. Others called him strategic. And then there were those who said the real tragedy was how a woman's name became currency in a war between two egos. Meanwhile, other rappers started creeping back into the spotlight. Cole dropped a surprise verse, referencing the whole saga with one line: watched titans fall over a whisper. Now I keep my circle smaller than scripture. Big Sean tweeted. Sometimes art burns everything, even Rihanna, who hadn't posted anything music-related in months, posted a photo with a caption, "Ain't no muse, just a movement." Shade? Maybe, maybe not. But the message was clear. Hip-hop had shifted. And at the center of that shift, a broken friendship, a possible betrayal, and a woman who never wanted the spotlight. In the months that followed, both camps returned to the music. Drake dropped a new project, softer, more experimental, heavy on the heartbreak. Critics called it his most honest work, since nothing was the same. Kendrick dropped an art film. No album, just a visual piece about memory, trust, and the lies we tell ourselves to stay loyal. No direct references. But if you knew, you knew. And just when people thought it was over, a fan caught something buried deep in the credits of Kendrick's film, inspired by real conversations. One name stood alone, Zena. So now that the dust is starting to settle, we're left with more questions than answers. Did Kendrick really cross the line? Or did he just hold up a mirror? Did Drake finally let his guard down with the wrong person? Or did he play into a story that was never his to control? And what about Zena? Was she the villain, the victim, or just caught in the crossfire of two titans who turned real life into lyrics? What started as bars turned into betrayal? What started as rap turned into heartbreak? And now the culture's left divided. But one thing's for sure, this chapter changed the game. It blurred the lines between truth and performance, between art and war, between love and legacy, and as fans, we're watching history unfold in real time. But now we want to hear from you. Was Drake right to speak out? Did Kendrick go too far? Was Zena unfairly dragged? Or was she holding secrets the whole time? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. We're reading everything. Don't forget to like the video if you were locked in the whole time. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next drop. And turn those notices on, because trust, this story might be quiet today, but tomorrow, all it takes is one line, and the war starts all over again. Until then, stay dangerous, stay tapped in, and remember, in this game, silence is never really silent. See y'all next time. See y'all next time.